Welcome to the Savvy Shopkeeper Retail Podcast. I'm your host, Kathy Cruz. Just like you, I'm an independent retail business owner. I love the home decor and gift boutique I co-own with my sister, but I don't want it to consume me or my life. Join me each week as I share lessons learned, helpful tips, and valuable information for your retail business and life. Whether you're buying your products or making your products, whether you're a $25K business or a $2.5 million business, I'm on a mission to help indie retailers work less, profit more, and grow. Let's get started on today's episode. Welcome to episode 216 of the Savvy Shopkeeper Retail Podcast. Build your leadership strength with Shelli Warren of Stacking Your Team. I'm your host, Kathy Cruz. So I've been wanting to do a podcast episode on leadership for a long time. In fact, I'll be hosting Leadership Month in Master Shopkeepers sometime this summer. It's very similar to March metrics. This was last month when we focused on learning about retail store metrics and how to improve them. So pair me wanting to record an episode on leadership with my own experience recently of growing my own team and learning how to lead them best. And needless to say, leadership has been top of mind. You'll hear in the episode that I learned about Shelli through a Master Shopkeepers member, a member that I highly respect. And that was enough for me to know that I should reach out to Shelli. And leadership is an area that all small business owners can work on, not just store owners. This means all of us, we have years of programmed practices, whether it's corporate or government or something else that doesn't always translate well into the small business world. You'll learn a lot more about Shelli in this interview, but what I want to share is the reason I titled this episode the way I did. It's because becoming a better leader is like building the strength of a muscle. Even if you think you can't be a leader or a better leader, the truth is you can. So I hope you allow yourself the ability to be open to the idea that you can be an amazing leader if you just give yourself the opportunity. If you give yourself the opportunity to strengthen that muscle so that you can build your team so that your business can grow. If you want to see the show notes to this episode or find links to anything that we mentioned during the interview, including how to connect with Shelli, you'll visit my blog at savvyshopkeeper.com/episode 216. That's savvyshopkeeper.com/episode 216. And here's my interview with Shelli. Hi, Shelli. Thank you so much for being here today. I genuinely appreciate it. I should probably first share that we have a mutual friend. Jen Luna is a store owner and a member of Master Shopkeepers, and she's also one of your clients. And she introduced me to your podcast, and I immediately knew that I wanted to have you on this podcast. So thank you so much for being here. I always start off these episodes by asking you to share your story because I'm curious how you ended up doing what you do, and you serve probably thousands of small business owners. And you also mentioned before we started recording that you worked in retail once. So I would love to hear that story too. So can you share a little bit with us about you, your journey, and your experience in retail?
I'd be happy to, Kathy, and it's a pleasure to be here. Jen talks so highly of you and her peers inside your membership group. She is a huge fan of you and what you're offering to the shopkeepers out there. And she's just a gem anyways. So is her team. So it's wonderful to be able to meet you in person and to meet another woman who has her voice on the air as well. I have a big heart for women who are in the podcasting world, as I am. So happy to be here. And for me, I'm a team and leadership coach, and I teach women who have a small business owner how to attract, retain, and lead their incredible teams. And the whole idea behind that is to help them build out a leadership team that runs the day-to-day operations so they don't have to, so that they can go and either build multiple locations, create a secondary complementary business, focus on family or some other passion project. So that's what I've been doing for 6 years now. But prior to that, I worked for Proctor Gamble for 25 years, and I was known for my ability to stack a team, which is the name of my podcast and the name of my business. And I did it all through relationship building. And I ended up leading highly technical teams through multi-million dollar projects for those billion-dollar brands. And I had a fabulous career with them. I feel like I'm now having a second fabulous career. But way back, I actually loved retail. I worked in retail for 4 years, hit my head banged quickly into the ceiling within that realm. And that's when I leapt over into working in corporate. But I am a huge fan of a retail shop owner, especially coming from a small town. I am a huge shopper anyways, and I love to be able to support local businesses. And I've always got a keen eye. I'm that person that comes into your store and I'm not just looking at your merchandise, but I'm actually watching your lighting, how you're merchandising. I'm looking for point of sale products. That's your cash register. I'm checking it all out because I still have a heart for retail.
Yeah, so many people do. So I love that you have the experience in retail. I say this all the time. I didn't really have any retail experience, so I don't have that. Like I didn't work retail in high school or in college or anything like that. I really started in the retail world late in life or later in life, I should say.
Mhm.
So I think that's really important because I think you understand, right? You understand what it is that we do as store owners, and you definitely understand because you have clients who have stores and you understand their struggles. The one thing that I loved in your bio, it said that you help small business owners remove themselves from the day-to-day operations. So many people listening right now, store owners listening right now are like, they're probably thinking like, tell me how to do that. But that is a talent to teach small business owners who are really dedicated to their businesses and feel like they have to be in it all the time, delegate and pass responsibilities onto their teams. How did you learn how to do that? And how did you learn how to train other small business owners or teach them how to do that?
Well, I started back in retail. So I actually started my very first retail role coming in to cover the store manager's maternity leave. And head office just showed up and said, when Marlene returns from maternity leave, we're actually going to demote her to assistant manager. We're going to promote you to manager. Because I had turned the store around. Like in 3 months, I had doubled the profits and I put together a proposal because I wanted a bigger store, like in the same mall. And I just put together the rationale behind why this brand needed a bigger presence in this particular mall, in this particular city, and why. And I even had it right down to where I wanted the new store located. I knew there was an expansion coming because I had the inside scoop for that. And it all started right there. It just started with learning how to hire, learning how to spot people who were looking for more than a job. And so I learned that all in retail. And then when I moved over into corporate, I just took that along with me. And I always had an eye out for people who had drive, people who could see a bigger vision, people who wanted to take on more responsibility. And I believe I'm like a teacher at heart anyway. So I'm very patient with people. I don't get too flustered with having to repeat myself over and over again or having to switch up my style to teach someone or to have something really land for someone who's trying to learn something new. So I've learned it over the years and I've always just really enjoyed it. So when I work with clients now, it's really about helping her understand that if she truly wants to get out of the day-to-day operation, like she really wants to, she's not just saying that because she thinks that's what we're supposed to say. That's what people are talking about online. If she truly wants to step out of the day-to-day operation, my next question is why? I want to know why. Why? Because once she really leans into why that is, so if she wants to open up more locations, if she wants to move into a new region, if she wants to open up a secondary complementary business, maybe an online component compared to her brick and mortar, then once I know what her angle is, then it helps me to coach her through that process of learning how to let go. And it still reverts right back to hiring the right people. hiring the right people, onboarding them really well, setting them up for success, and then offering them a career versus the job.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you said that you want to know their why. Because I mean, there are store owners who want to be in their businesses, actually who want to be in their businesses more. So originally when I started Savvy Shopkeeper, my tagline was work less, profit more, and grow. And I learned that some store owners don't want to work less. Some do, some don't, and that everyone is really different. So I've changed it to work smarter, right? Because then you get to
Yeah.
determine the amount that you work. But of course, we want to be smarter about our time, no matter which direction we head in. So I love that you tap into the why, because that's a driving force, no matter what we're doing, whether we're managing people, running our business, or whatever it is that we're doing. What I know we're going to talk about not throwing money at your team in order to feel like you have to retain them. We're going to talk about that, but you also said something else that interests me and that piqued my interest, and that I know listeners are really wondering. You mentioned something about being able to spot a leader, or being able to spot the right talent for a store instead of somebody looking for the job. Do you have one or two tips around that? Or is there like one magic formula that you could share, or tip for store owners who are wondering that? Like, how do you know how to spot that in someone?
Well, I think the first thing comes down to realizing that we can take a lot of things that corporate do really well and strip it down into something that works incredibly well for small business. And that starts with recognizing that as a small business owner, you don't need to be this corporate brand to have wonderful people work for you. Like, I think there's some sort of attitude out there that small business owners can say to them, especially shopkeepers can say, well, I just, like if they want to work a couple hours, I'm happy to have them. And that's when I say, wait a minute, time out. You have an incredible shop. You have an incredible impact that you're having in your local community. You deserve great people to be working here alongside you and being a great extension of your brand too. You don't have to be Google, Proctor and Gamble, Smuckers. I mean, you don't have to be a big brand, a big corporate recognizable brand to be able to have stellar people work alongside you. And it starts with that attitude of knowing, hey, I deserve this. I built this from scratch. I'm keeping my doors open. I've got my ear to the ground. I'm listening to my marketplace. I'm listening to my competitors. I'm looking to see what the trends are. I'm trying to stay out front of my clients and customers. And I deserve to have people that are just as excited about that as I am.
This episode is brought to you by Master Shopkeepers, my mastermind group for brick and mortar retail store owners. If you're craving support, connection, inspiration, and motivation for your retail business, apply to join us. It doesn't matter what stage of shopkeeping you're in, what matters is your drive to work less, profit more, and grow, both personally and professionally. Learn more at savvyshopkeeper.com/group membership. That's savvyshopkeeper.com/group membership, all one word. You are so speaking my language. I knew there was a reason why I wanted to have you on here. I can't agree more. Store owners, there's so many small business owners, we really undervalue all of the time and effort that we put into our businesses and our brands, and the magic that happens in our brains, the businesses that we've built. And sometimes you hear people say, oh, your little shop or that little shop is so cute, but I don't want us to carry that thought. I want us to carry the thought of my brand is big and beautiful. And just like you said, it deserves a team that is worthy of being here within my small business. Yes, my business might be small, but it doesn't mean that I have to play small or think small. So you just hit it out of the ballpark with that answer.
Well, and that's what you want to do. You want to spot those individuals when they come in for the interview, when they come in and drop their resume off for you, when they come in and ask if you're hiring. You're looking for those signs that this person sees the opportunity that you have available to them, that they're not just coming in looking for a part-time job to, give them the funds to rock an incredible wardrobe. Like you're looking for people that can walk in and say, hey, this place is kind of cool. Hey, she's kind of cool. Hey, I think I could learn a lot from her. I think I could learn a lot about myself while working alongside her as she serves her clientele that she's got going on, this niche that she's building out. So that's what you're looking for. You're looking for people that see the opportunity that you have available to them that's more than a job, including your part-timers, because we all know that oftentimes part-timers turn into full-timers, turn into long-standing full-time team members who really leave their stamp on the business. And when we can start to build that relationship with them, the minute they come in as part-timers, that's when you know you're going to build commitment, you're going to build loyalty, they're going to be a great extension of you and the brand. Even if they do go away to school, even if they do go and start a family, they're still going to be your ambassadors in your local small town out on the street, talking about what you're doing, how wonderful you are, and how deeply you're listening to what your clients and customers are wanting to purchase.
Absolutely. And I think there's a limiting belief, again, with store owners, because that's who we're talking to, that at minimum wage, they can attract that type of person. But that's a limiting belief. That's not true. It's, are you willing to invest the time and effort to attract that person, to say no to the people who don't align with that, and wait for the right person to come along, even when it feels hard? And that leads to another limiting belief that we're going to talk about next, where store owners feel like they have to throw money at their employees in order to retain them. And that's what we're going to talk about a little more in depth in this podcast episode. And I know you have 12 tips on how not to do that, but if I can just get 4 to 6 tips from you today, that would be great.
Sure. I put together a guide last year called 12 Ways to Motivate Your Team Without Giving Them a Pay Raise. And it's very applicable to any size business. It doesn't matter how big your business is, how big your team is, or what type of business they have. I think every single business owner out there right now is being a little bit more thoughtful about payroll, because as you know, payroll is often the biggest number staring back at you when you look at your P&L statement. So I think as women who are leaders out there on the cutting edge, doing wonderful things, having big impact, we have to start thinking more broadly about how can we motivate the people that work alongside with us every single day. And it doesn't equate to throwing money at people, because I think we've all been there. We've all given a lot of money to people and they still quit. We've all given big money to a lot of people and they still cause a lot of drama for us. We've all given big money to people and they've lost clients on us, So it's not the money thing. It's not the money that's really the motivator for people. So we can look at different ways. So a couple of ideas that I have for you as a shop owner who's got some people on their team that you're delighted with, right? These are individuals that are reliable. They show up when they're supposed to. They do a great job the entire time that they're in your brick and mortar. You want to be able to get to know what really motivates them. So a few ideas are just learning about their passion projects. Is there a local project that's happening in your community that lights them up? Is that project looking for money? Is that project looking for a collaboration? Is that project looking for a volunteer? Is that project looking for a board member? I mean, I think it's a wonderful opportunity to tie you, your team member, and your brand to that team member's passion by allowing them to go and be a volunteer for some big fundraising project that they're doing. So you're not cutting a check for that organization. What you're doing is you're allocating a certain amount of money every month for that team member to go work on behalf of that organization. So whether they're out there knocking on doors, canvassing, whether they're actually rolling up their sleeves, doing some heavy lifting for that organization, whether they're going to committee meetings or board meeting, they're there with your full applause to go out there, go feed that passion under your care and guidance. So it's still a great way to shine the light on what really gets them excited, and also is an incredible way to show up for your local community. And it really didn't cost you a lot. Even to give that individual 4 hours a month, or, top it up even to 6 hours a month where it's paid in advance, it's approved, you know exactly what they're going to be working on, can be so meaningful for that team member.
Genius, really genius. Because we hear store owners say all the time, or I thought the same thing too when I was running a store with my sister, is I don't have time to go to that local organization meeting. I don't have time, especially my first few years, right? We have 6 stages of shopkeeping. And in that second stage, the savvy starter, when you're starting, you're so incredibly overwhelmed because you're so consumed with opening your store and you're normally wearing 100 hats. And even into like stage 3, you're still wearing a lot of hats and you just feel like you don't have the time. 4 hours seems like nothing in terms of the ROI that you could get out of that investment in your team member. I think it's an amazing idea. Okay, what's number 2?
Well, another idea that I have for you is getting to know those team members and what they're passionate about and what they're curious about, and giving them the decision space and the ownership space to create some sort of marketing campaign for your shop. So this is how I turned that store that I took over as a maternity leave replacement, how I turned that store on its head. I love marketing. I was always just get jacked up about it. And I was really creative. And I came up with these wild campaigns that made so much money for that store. It was ridiculous. But it's that whole idea of get to know who on your team is really excited about marketing. And I'm not talking about creating posts on social media. I'm talking about where they can put a plan together from point A to point B on why would we want to feature this product? What are the many ways that we could feature this product? Are there complementary products that would nicely fit with this? What would a campaign look like that would take us, not a one-day campaign, but something that's going to take create some hype, at least for a week or at least over a weekend, and then give them the space to come up with all the ideas, even the foolish ones, to have them come up, what you're really doing is teaching them how to be creative and then offering this safe space, like the psychological safety to be creative. And then they'll align on what that plan would be, give them the decision space, give them the ownership space, give them the budget, give them whatever they need to succeed, and then let them go and do it. Because what's happening here is they're moving the business forward. They have a different touch on the business, like a different pulse of the business. They're probably having different conversations with different types of clientele or customers than what you would have. And it also screams to that team member and the rest of your team and your local community, look how confident she is. Look how much she adores that team member, that she's setting this person up to literally try on being a store owner for a week and try on being a marketing manager for a brick and mortar for the week. Try on what it would be like to build an ad campaign. Try on what it would be like to create this big promotional event. And it's those memories, it's those experiences that bring that relationship with that team member so far forward. And they'll have brand loyalty to you forever. Even if they move to another location, even if they, get married and move to Australia for love, like wherever they go in life, they will always be a brand ambassador for you because you trusted them. You gave them a chance. You thought their point of view was worth listening to, and you were willing to take a risk on them. And I would bet anyone that's been given that kind of an opportunity would respect that, would be so driven to succeed in that because they know it's going to lead to the next thing. It's going to lead to the next thing. And these are all ways in which you offer someone a career in a shop versus simply a job.
This episode is brought to you by my free resource, Tools of the Retail Trade Resource Guide, a 28-page downloadable resource filled with software, tools, and equipment recommendations just for brick and mortar retail store owners. Learn what I use and what other store owners are using. Visit savvyshopkeeper.com/resources. That's savvyshopkeeper.com/resources and sign up for my newsletter to get the guide. Yeah, and that idea is so fun, right? There's part of it that made me excited as a small business owner. I would love, I love the idea of other people getting creative with ways to market my business. And the other thing, store owners, they feel like they have to have so much control over the marketing in their business. It's my business, it's my brand, it's my face. But that's a really great way to convey to your team members you value them, you appreciate that they're helping you build this business, and it's just fun if you let yourself have fun with it, right? Like that's the big challenge is, can you let yourself have fun with it? Okay, what's number 3?
Well, I'll give you the last one here. The last one is, and this is a fun one. I kind of tease Jen Luna about this, that it would be so dangerous for me if I lived close to her, because everything she offers at Paper Lux, I am her ideal client for, including her event planning space. I am her ideal client. So that would be incredibly dangerous. But I also know that I'm not the only one that loves that stuff. So when you look at your team members, getting to know them, getting to see what product line or even a season are there seasonal products that you carry, or is there a specific product line that really lights one of your team members up? And can we look to build in some mastery for that team member? So here's an example. Let's say you own a shop that also is known for offering wedding products. And you've got someone on your team that just can't wait to be a bride. Like she's been wanting to be a bride since she was 6, and she just loves everything about the wedding industry. Here's an opportunity to have that team member literally become the expert in your store on bridal. What's happening in the wedding market out? What's happening in that industry? What are the new products? What are the bride and groom? What are they wanting now? What's traditional? What's not traditional? What's progressive? What's not progressive? And have them learn as much as they can about that whole industry so that they're coming to you with trends. And that's leading you to take them with you when you go on those buying trips. Let their curiosity and their passion for that particular product line or that particular customer type to take the ease off of you. Let them ease your decision fatigue. Let them ease your own exhaustive creative juices, because we all hit the wall sometimes. And let those individuals start to see, wow, she's actually giving me this opportunity to become really well versed in the bridal industry. And who knows where that'll take that individual? You don't care, because you're just worrying right now about how can they bring a spark to my shop because they're so interested in bridal. How can I leverage this person's enthusiasm and their curiosity for this to really make sure that my shop becomes known at an elevated level for what we offer the bridal industry at our shop? And guess what? You didn't really have to do anything there with that other than offer the opportunity.
Yeah. And this is great because this reminds me of like the next stage, right? We're talking about like stage 3, 4, and 5, the profit planner, the growing retailer. Like that's the time that you want to start letting go of some of those responsibilities that you carry. So I love the idea, especially of the buying. It's another situation where a lot of store owners think that they have to control all of that. And we have a few Master Shopkeepers members, including Jen, they do a nice job of trusting their team members to know their stores and their customers so well, to be in tune with the trends and to start to let that go. And I've seen group members where they will send one team member for a short time. You don't have to send them for a week to market, but you can send them for 1 or 2 nights just so they dip their toe in the water. They might see things that you don't see. They might have conversations that you don't have. I think that's a great idea. So what if somebody is genuinely motivated by money? Do you have any tips around that then? Because I imagine opportunities like this are great, but what happens in a situation where someone is motivated by money? Because I know that's what people are thinking right now. They're like, but Kathy, a lot of my team members are motivated by money. What do we do then?
Well, believe me, I love giving people raises too. I love getting a raise. I love giving raises. I mean, it's all fun, especially as a woman in a position where you can do that. It's a wonderful feeling to know that you're going to impact someone's life that way with what they're earning. But here's the thing. We don't give money away just because someone's asking for it. Right? Just because someone asks for something doesn't mean the answer is going to be yes. And the other thing that we do not do is we don't tie a money or raise to years of service. So I think that is a corporate learned behavior that we need to squelch. So in the world of work, there is this idea that every 6 months I should get a raise. Oh, I've been here another year. I should get a raise. I'm coming up on my 5th anniversary. I'm going to get a whopper of a raise. There's this story that has been told out there in the world of work that raises are directly aligned to years of service. And I'm sorry, but not my world. In my world, raises are tied to levels of contribution. It's like, what have you done for me lately? It's that whole idea of, I don't care if you've been with me for 6 years. If you haven't been able to out earn your salary, if you haven't been able to move the profit center that you lead or the product line that you lead or the location that you lead within my brand, that doesn't warrant a raise. So I think that's the other thing is a lot of team members can become really complacent and almost like chill, like over chill, because they, in their mind, every year that goes by that they're still gainfully employed with you, they start to relax a little bit more. And then they just relax a little bit more. And then they relax a little bit more to a point where they literally are just waiting for their next year anniversary, like their next work anniversary. And they absolutely are expecting a raise. So when we talk to team leaders about, raises, any kind of a change in compensation is actually linked to the contribution that you're bringing into the business. It can be quite shocking for people, but it's one of those adult conversations that they will remember forever because it literally elevates them into the person that we know they can be.
So many gold nuggets. I know we covered a variety of things. You answered a lot of questions. I'm sure my listeners are thinking, oh my gosh, can you just keep her on for 2 more hours so that she can answer more questions? So this is what I'm going to do. Like, what's the best place for people to learn more about you? Because you do have the podcast. So can you share about the podcast, your website, and the guide that you mentioned? Is the guide something that they can access?
Oh, absolutely. The easiest way for your listeners to, get a little bit more taste of what we've been talking about today is just simply go to stackingyourteam.com/listener. And that will open up a page. There's a ton of freebies there for you. There's a direct link to the podcast is there as well. But you can get that guide from there. There's also a quick and easy little one-pager assessment. I call it Spot Your Leaders, like how to spot leaders. Like it really will help you recognize, oh, jeepers, like I've got leaders here right now. I just haven't been recognizing it. Or they haven't been standing there holding their hand up saying, I want my responsibility, or, they're just not giving you the signs and signals. So head on over to stackingyourteam.com/listener and get all the goodies.
Okay, that's nice and easy. I love that you made it that easy. Is there something that you think my listeners, especially the small business owners, the small retailers, that they would want to know from you? Is there like a common question that comes up all the time that I haven't asked you? Any other final thoughts or words of wisdom specifically for micro retailers?
Well, the one thing that I would love your listeners to walk away today with is I'm here to give you permission to bless and release anyone on your team that you're not delighted with. And I mean that. I find in the world of small business, especially in the shopkeeper realm, we have a tendency to hire family, friends, the mom from the soccer field, the individual that was introduced to you by a neighbor who's out of work and who needs a job. And as women, we're very kind-hearted, and we will always do our best, especially to help another mom out or another woman out. And I think that's very commendable. However, if that person is not adding value to you, your extended team, your clients, your customers, or your brand, they're not a fit for you. And it's going to be even harder the longer you keep them on the payroll. I've seen it a million times. It just gets harder and harder because the obligation gets deeper and deeper. And another month goes by, and another quarter goes by, and another year goes by. And I'm here to tell you, you deserve better. You're meant for better. And there are wonderful people out there that will want to work alongside you and help you grow this brand. And they will literally see this as an opportunity to have a career versus a job or a stepping stone job to get to their dream job. So rip the Band-Aid off and bless and release those individuals that are not a good fit for you.
That was a mic drop moment. I wanted to say that like 2 minutes ago, but that's a mic drop moment. I can't agree more. What I appreciate about you, Shelli, is there's the strength that like just oozes out of you. I have such an appreciation for it. And I think what happens is, again, as women, and most of the people listening to the podcast, they are women. Most of the people in my community, so many store owners are women, and we underestimate how strong we can be. So that is the perfect way to end this episode. Do not underestimate your strength as a store owner and the hard decisions, what feels like a hard decision, those hard decisions that can be made. You can do that. So that's just the perfect way to wrap up this episode. Again, if you can just share the link to your website so that everyone can connect with you.
Sure. Go to stackingyourteam.com/listener. That will be the easiest link for you to get some quick goodies.
Shelli, thank you so much for being here. I know how much Jen speaks highly of you and how much she values your work. So I really appreciate that you came to share with my audience.
I appreciate you. And it's been an absolute pleasure getting to finally meet you.